Hello and welcome to the 3-Inning Fan Show with me, Kelley Franco. I am so excited about our guests here today because they are the first two-time guests on the 3-Inning Fan Show. We've got Bob Heussler and the Schmooze, Steve Summers. You guys, thank you so much for being here today.
Well, as I mentioned before, we are back by unpopular demand.
And I'm still trying to figure out what I'm doing here.
That I worked on for a whole day.
That was good. That was good. Now, everybody knows these guys, but especially if you were a fan of The Fan back in the day, you know that Bob was the update anchor for 30 years-ish, and Steve was Captain Midnight. But more importantly, Steve wrote this book. It is available right now on Amazon and all books are sold?
Well, Barnes & Noble and other bookstores, yes. It is out right now. And if you do, and it is orderable.
It's orderable.
Orderable on Amazon.
Christmas, Hanukkah would make a great gift, or no, not a good gift?
Oh, you know it would.
It would, see? It would make a great gift.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
It's you have to spend some guilt for the book.
But there's no guilt.
Yeah.
It's called Me Here and You There.
Yeah, good holiday gift.
Great holiday gift. And with a foreword by Jerry Seinfeld, it could be a Festivus gift, too.
Well, yes. It's not the longest forward in the world. and it took us a while to get him to do it. But it's there. And a lot of the emails that he was is a big Metropolitan fan, and a lot of the emails that are in the book over the 30 years that we were going back and forth with emails have to do with the Mets and there was one email that's not in the book.
Oh.
That I can tell you about with Seinfeld.
Insider peek.
We were talking about Mookie Wilson.
Okay.
And then I wrote back and let him know about what I knew of Mookie Wilson and '86. And he came back with an email about Charles Lindbergh. What a connection there, don't you think?
It's obvious. Anyone who doesn't get that really doesn't know anything.
Yeah, but that one is not in the book. The publisher, Triumph Books, thought that it was too strange to put in the book, and that
You went. What is the connection between Mookie Wilson?
And also because the book has some really weird parts, so I'm kind of curious what was too strange for it.
There is no connection. That's the point.
I see.
Oh.
Yeah, I'll let that go. I didn't know what to say. Mookie Wilson, Lindbergh was solo.
Yeah.
And Mookie Wilson wasn't on a flight to Paris in 1927.
That we know
wasn't
of.
Even born
Yeah.
in
A
1927.
couple of famous number ones. Solo number one.
Yes.
Well, so you have chosen to do this show with a female podcast, which is, of course, awesome. And if you were on one of your regular podcasts where you're going to go to promote this book, probably with some dude, they would open with, hey, tell us the part about how you went 3 rounds with Muhammad Ali. But that's not what I'm going to start with, because now you're with a woman. And the first thing I want to know about is, you took your girlfriend on a cruise and she had an affair with the waiter?
Yep. She liked what he had to serve.
Oh, boy.
That's a true story. Love boat for her.
For her.
Ship of fools for me.
Life's sweetest reward. Come aboard. We're expecting you.
That's a true story.
Yeah.
It really is a true story. And she used to excuse herself if we were sitting having a meal, and she would say, I got to go to the bathroom, makeup, and she'd be going for hours.
Oh, my
because she
goodness.
was meeting him.
Meeting the waiter. So she said she had to just, I'll be right back?
And well, she wouldn't even have to say that. You would think she would be right back. but never came back, really.
What was your first clue that things were going sideways?
That she was going to the bathroom, and it took about 3 hours.
And I assume that also your meal wasn't being promptly delivered by the waiter during this time?
Well, that's correct also.
So did you kind of put those two together?
Well, you're a little bit sharper than I am. But what I did put together was that she just wasn't coming back to the table. He might have been waiting on other tables, or his shift might have been over. So that didn't come to mind that, where is he, where is her? But I, being suspicious, because she was gone for a long time, and it bothered me a great deal, of course, but what are you going to do? And he was from the Canary Islands, and she left. She didn't come back home after the cruise was over. She stayed on the boat with him, moved to the Canary Islands, lived with him for about 6 months, and then with other girlfriends toured Europe. And then by the time all of this was going on, I had moved from California to Atlanta for the TV job that I had at the time. And when she decided to come back to California, she stopped off in Atlanta.
Oh,
And
did she want to
rejoin-
rekindle the fire?
Wanted to rejoin the relationship.
Another cruise.
Yeah.
Hit the road,
right.
Jack, yeah.
So I said, no, we're moving forward. And so did she. She stopped in Atlanta and then moved back to California where we had met.
Well, that was the story that I was most curious about. It really is actually kind of a good story, not for you in the actual moment, but it was a good story to read about.
No, I've told it on the air as well. Ship of Fools and Love Boat. Yeah.
Well, so I have to say that in all seriousness, something that strikes me about this book when I was reading it was that you talk a lot about your background and growing up and, your beautiful and very regular life that you had growing up in California, son of a grocer.
Middle class, lower middle class. The neighborhood where I grew up in San Francisco was not, not Nob Hill, not Pacific Heights, not the Marina where Joe DiMaggio lived. I'm just saying that, no different than anyone else, but no silver spoon, not at all. My dad was a grocery man, so money wasn't the big issue in our family. But attention, my brother and I got. What I never talked about on the air, but in the book, was about my brother a little bit.
That was poignant. Tell us
some
about
of
your
the
brother.
ailments that I've had over the years, including cancer, which I don't have anymore. And knock on Formica, as I like to say, it won't come back, and it's not supposed to, because the radiation got all of it.
Thank God.
It was local, and with the prostate, and you can have either chemotherapy, you can have surgery, where it's taken out, your prostate, or radiation. But because mine was so local, radiation after 10 and a half weeks of it took care of it and it's gone.
Thank God. It sounds like they caught it early when they found
Yes,
it.
very, very lucky. More lucky than good.
I'd rather be lucky than good. Who said that? I always forget who said it.
But no, I think a career and even this kind of result, and this is not, false humility. I think you want to be good no matter what you do, whether it's being a butcher, a baker, a candlestick maker, anything. But you have to be lucky also. There are a lot of good people that lose their job, and Bob would tell you how many people are leaving WFAN on December 28th. What, about 28, 29 people are being
No
let
The
kidding.
go?
involuntary retirement club.
Oh
Yeah.
boy.
Eddie Scazzeri had a great line when I left. a member of the Involuntary Retirement Club.
But that's the business these
It's
days.
a business we have chosen. Rewarding and satisfying and wonderful, but also cruel. I'm surprised it's December 28th that these people will have their last day instead of December 25th, because usually it's happened before, or on Christmas, people have lost their job. And Bob and I are friends with just about all of them that are losing their job.
Oh, that must be so hard.
It's sad. It's but as Steve said, it's the business we have chosen, or chose, and radio is a lot different these days than it was when Steve began in July 1st, 1987. I was at the FAN beginning in 1993, but a listener from day one. I literally was by the radio at 3 o'clock on July 1st, 1987, listening to this new concept. It's all sports radio.
Yep.
And that's something to be also remembered, is that the FAN was the first. The FAN, now there are literally thousands of different shows through different mediums that do what the FAN did before anybody, and the FAN almost failed. The FAN was hemorrhaging red ink.
About when was that?
Well, from 1987
In the
until there are three things that account for the success of the FAN. This is indisputable. One, and most notably, Imus. When
Mike and the Mad
well,
Dog.
that's number two. And number three, and think about this because of where we're at now, number three is the shift in frequency from 1050 AM to 660 AM. When the FAN went on the air, it was WHN, the all-country. It went through a lot of formats, but at the time, WHN was a country station. So MS Broadcasting purchased that radio station, HN 1050, all sports, and it was a bloated mess. They didn't know what they wanted to do. There was no real. Steve, who was from San Francisco, ironically had the most local sound in those early years. You had Greg Gumbel and Jim Lampley and a national focus. So they finally figured out, well, that's not really the way to go. And it started with Imus. When Imus arrived at the FAM, you immediately went from, directionless to here's the anchor of the station.
And he brought revenue.
And also absolutely. Well, that, of course, absolutely. Ironically, he was not sports-oriented. So a non-sports-oriented personality is responsible for the success of what became the most successful all-sports radio station in the history of the medium. But then Mike and the Mad Dog, which was almost accidental. It was serendipitous because that almost failed.
Yes.
Those two, Mike and Chris, will be the first to tell you that they almost killed each other in the early years, and eventually they were told, either you guys make this work, or basically you're all both.
How did they go from almost killing each other to making it work spectacularly?
I don't want to speak for Dog, but as I think I understand it, there was one. If you're going to talk about the seminal moment, they did the Dog Date Afternoon, which was Dog was single at the time, and Mike. I don't know who conceptualized this, but they came up with the idea of let's do a contest of sorts, an on-air contest to find Chris a date.
Cute.
Dog Date, and Mike.
But weren't all the listeners dudes?
Well, I guess you got to cut through the clutter there and find the, yes, there are a few.
Okay.
And word spread, a lot, maybe somebody listening in the back seat.
Yeah,
But Mike has a great sense of humor. He really does.
Okay.
He's very witty. And Chris learned, we can have fun too. And it kind of broke the ice. I'm not saying that was the be-all, end-all. And again, I'm speaking just from what I know, not firsthand, but that seemed to kind of break the ice. And then, of course, that show exploded.
Yeah.
But they also, and then the frequency, you go from a station which we're in Connecticut, you'd have trouble getting 1050 on certain nights. In fact, at night, you couldn't get it at all where we are right now. And we're not that far. But 660 was what they referred to as a blowtorch.
50,000 watt
50,000 watt clear channel. I mean, you could hear it in Cuba if you were Fidel Castro. You could hear it on Cape Cod. You had listeners from Cape Cod calling.
Yes, and Steve Apria, an engineer at WFAN, a guy still there, he said on a good night you could be heard in Cuba. Yeah.
Midwest. So you had all that going on. And this, boy, we've really gotten, I'm going to bring it around again. AM radio is literally dying. It's not, it's literally, AM, I have to explain to my grandkids what AM radio is.
Are you kidding me? Really? Wow.
Oh, no. Forget AM, just radio in general. I mean.
And how many platforms can you hear something where so many years ago you needed a radio? Now, I guess if you're in a car, and your phone isn't handy, you can hear it in the palm of your hand, anywhere. Instagram and Facebook, all the platforms.
But here's the thing, you can, but those platforms don't have the magic, in my opinion, and maybe I'm showing my age here, but when you can get anything on your phone anywhere, there's no magic in that. But when you're far away and all of a sudden 660 comes back in and you're driving and all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, I'm getting it. We're getting closer. I'm getting it on my car. That was a moment.
It was.
Well, radio then, and when we were there, was personal and intimate. It's not that way anymore.
You talk about the WFAN family a lot.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And really your family away from real family. And no, you're seeing these people. What I miss about being a member of the involuntary retirement community is I don't miss the deadline, and I don't miss really,
the grind.
Yeah, right. But I do miss the camaraderie with other people.
It's almost like a sports team. You talk to athletes about what do they miss the most after retirement. It's not so much the game, it's the locker room, the camaraderie in the locker room, the people you work with. I'm the same way as you that way. When people ask me, do you miss the job? Yeah, I miss the job, but I miss the people and the interaction I had. Because it really was, we're lucky in that way, especially in the Astoria days. There was something special about the sub-basement in Kaufman, Astoria.
That's the way it sounded in here. And I know from speaking with like Sal Licata and people who really remember those days that it was special.
And Sal losing his job.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
It's just,
which again gets back to the business. It's the business, and it's just you're in a situation where they need to make difficult decisions because they need to keep moving this thing forward, and it's just a different animal now.
And in Astoria, where WFAN was born, you had to look up to see the basement. That's how dilapidated.
You know what the most incredible part of that little turn of phrase is? John Minko came up with that.
Yeah. Okay. Was it him?
The Mink Man?
Minko will be the first to tell you. He's not the quickest draw when it comes to the one-liners.
But he had, it was him?
That's his line.
It's a great line.
It is a great
We
line,
had
and
to look up
that's
to
true.
see the basement.
Yeah, that was the Astoria days, and I know we're talking inside baseball stuff here because you had to be there to appreciate it, but it was really a dump. It was our dump.
Yeah. This looks like the Ritz, compared to our radio station in Astoria.
And I'm not knocking Hudson Street.
No, and this is a beautiful space.
Well, you told a funny story in here about how you got caught in the elevator on a smoke break.
Oh, that was great.
Yeah, that's right. And was not only I was chastised by Mark Chernoff, the program director. And he said, if you didn't smoke, this never would have happened.
It wasn't the elevator's fault.
Oh, it was.
It was.
Yeah, and in security, by law, you're supposed to call the fire department if you're stuck in an elevator for more than, say, 20 minutes.
And guess who didn't call security when Steve was stuck in the elevator for more than 20 minutes?
I was in there for an hour and a half.
Oh, boy.
And security was talking to me on the intercom.
Were
They
they?
never
They
called
let
him-
him smoke in the elevator while he was waiting.
They said, you want to go and smoke, and I didn't.
Did you say this is me here and you there?
Yeah, that's not funny.
He was literally
I
pulled
could
out.
play with you like that.
He was pulled out by firemen.
yeah.
By
But you got a
firemen.
step stool. Tell how you came out through the little hole.
Well, right. It was stuck between, first of all, I pressed lobby from the 10th floor, and it went up a little bit, like halfway up between 10 and 11. And there was a little space at the top of the elevator door. And eventually, they never called the fire department, which they were supposed to do, because the building is then liable if they have to break down anything or smash a wall or the.
They got to fix everything.
Right.
Yeah.
The building would be like, never called the fire department. And eventually, they lowered like a folding chair, and I opened it up, stepped on it, put my arms through this opening at the top of the elevator door, and they pulled me through. Good thing I was skinny.
I did the update that night, 9 o'clock update.
And they didn't
What did you say?
Well, we were wondering
where I was.
So I lock out at about 9:04, 9:05, and we go to a commercial. And usually, one thing about Steve is he's early all the time. And even though he would take the smoke breaks all the time, he was always back up quickly. Well before he was. So we always did a few spots. There's no Steve. Another spot, another spot, another. And we're like,
hour and a half.
So remember what they ended up doing?
Well, when I finally got back, it was 8 o'clock at night that I went. I was going to go
I thought
down.
it was 9. Whatever.
No, whatever. Either way. And when I got back to the studio, Chernoff, who had trouble getting Richard Neer.
Well, that was the thing. Richard Neer did.
He
the
didn't
show
want to do
remotely.
it, right?
No.
How can you believe?
Richard
you would have done it.
Richard Neer had to
And
jump.
you would have been probably.
I would have done it. Yeah.
Oh,
Done well.
Your work ethic is an inspiration to us.
Well,
it is.
Thank you.
It is.
You were the valedictorian. Folks, Steve was a valedictorian of his high school class, Lowell High School class of 65. That's something.
Well, yeah, but I wasn't an A student. I'll tell you, there are 11 men or boys that auditioned to do that. And the reason I did audition, but in high school was doing speech tournaments, forensics it was called. Now you think forensics, it has to do with the morgue and with autopsy.
Law and Order.
Yeah, right.
Dun dun. Yeah.
But I was student body treasurer, and the student body treasurer was always supposed to give the first student body card to the principal, then the dean of boys, then the dean of girls. Yada,
So there was a
yada.
hierarchy.
That's right.
Principal always got it first. Of course, who wouldn't do that? Oh, wait, Steve wouldn't do that. What'd you do?
Well, I gave the first student body card to the head janitor.
I love it. Then there's a picture of that in the book.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, from the yearbook. And Floyd was the guy, and he wrote cut slips for all of us so that we could leave the campus, like at lunchtime.
Have a smoke.
Exactly.
And you played baseball.
I was on the team, but I was terrible.
But you said you were glove first. You were glove first, second baseman.
Oh, yeah, no,
Yeah.
I could field, and
Yeah,
I had
it's
a
good
little bit
fielder.
of an arm. I used to sit at the end of the bench in the dugout, talking into the knob of the bat as if it was a microphone. At home, I used a light bulb as a microphone.
You knew what
and
you
turn-
wanted to
and
do.
turn the- I wanted to announce. I used to do that. I was terrible as a boy. I was on the basketball team too, but I wish I had seen Castaway with Tom Hanks, because then I would have been talking to Wilson, our basketball. But nonetheless, no. But I wasn't. I made the team with basketball and with the baseball, and but I wasn't, and I'm not being humble here, I wasn't very good, but I had hustle. And I tried hard with auditions, so I got a uniform, but I didn't play much, and when I did, it was terrible. True.
But so what struck me so much, and we're here with Bob Heussler, whose insights, by the way, are tremendous. I have loved since we have just started our texting relationship because you know more than anyone. And Steve Summers, Me Here and You There, get this book for Christmas, Hanukkah, Festivus. What struck me so much about this book, Steve, is that it's almost poignant the way you have lived a life of celebrity, but also a very regular life.
Yeah.
It's
well,
two kind of contrasting things.
I mean, the pants go on one leg at a time, and a cliche is that, but true.
Yeah.
I'm a little, I don't have a lot of personal self-esteem, even when I was younger and more as a young man, and I had goals, I had dreams, destination, everything was to get to New York. And I never thought for a while it was going to happen. There were places where I got fired, where I was let go, management changed. I hated working in Atlanta. I was working for Confederates. The general manager had a spittoon in his office and he used it. Oh,
That's awful.
you would go in there, and he would be spitting into the spittoon.
That is disgusting.
And I'm saying, you ever see the movie Gone with the Wind? What happened there? Huh? She has to realize that the South did not win. Anyway, so, yeah.
Well, so you talk about struggling with low self-esteem, and you are essentially someone who was in business for yourself. Even though you worked for the fan, you made yourself, and you were an entrepreneur.
Well, that's a way of, I don't know if I would identify with all of that. But I mean, I was working I had been there from 87 to 2021. It took me years before I felt like I wasn't going to be fired. And the first night I was on the air, I said, if I do get fired from this job, it won't be for lack of effort. But it took me seriously 5, 6, 7 years before I felt that if I did screw up, if I did make a mistake, if I didn't have somebody like Bob Heussler helping me, informing me with his aid and assistance, we've become friends. And I cannot say enough about Bob. No. Well, I don't mean to embarrass him, but matter of fact, he has helped me in so many ways, with support, with confidence, with information, with aid and assistance. And that's not something I'm making up. It's true.
Yeah. Well,
he's that kind of
but here's the
selfless. But anyway.
Steve engages people.
Well,
the way he's engaging you right now, he engages everybody. And it comes across on the radio. That very same personality that is as engaging here or with the security guard or with the janitor in high school.
Oh, sure. And you are the same.
Thank you.
Oh, of course. And Bob, the three of us here all have that gift of being a people person. And you can turn it into communication, as you have done, as we have done. And we're basically regular people doing something that not everybody does and having a good time doing it. But I was working for, I don't feel like I was my own brand. No. I was part of a great lineup. I wasn't.
You were your own brand.
I disagree.
Yeah, you were your own brand.
No.
I can prove it.
I was not Imus. I was not Mike and the Mad Dog. I was not. I was in the middle of the night And nobody else had ever done that. And you know what they thought in the very beginning?
Look at the title of your book.
Oh, listen.
What's the title of your book?
No,
And all these
here,
years,
you know how many,
yeah.
you know how many people imitate that title? How many Sports Center anchors?
Yeah.
How many times have they used the term "other side of the glass"? That's yours. Me here, you there. That's yours. There are Icelanders. It's yours. The Fakers. Yours.
Yeah.
The Metropolitans.
Sacra
Yours.
Tomato.
That's a brand.
If you're a head of broccoli,
you branded
place to
yourself.
Give her a stalk
Sacra
of
Tomato.
corn.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
well, but that's stuff you think of at 3 o'clock in the morning when you think no one's listening.
Well, guess
Yeah,
what?
my mother
you were
used to-
branding yourself. You were unique on the fan.
There was your
okay.
time slot maybe gave you that space to develop your own style.
Well, I knew but it took me years to feel that if I did screw up, and I used to say on the air, nobody has made more mistakes on this radio station than I have.
Well,
And that's true. And
That's part of your charm, too. That's part of your brand.
Okay. But I would always feel like after a few years, if I did screw up, and of course I have and did.
everybody does.
Right, yeah, sure. That I could come back the next day and make it better.
But that's a lot of
but it
stress
took
to
me
be
years.
living with for, say, 7 years. You're wondering if you're going to
So you
lose your
see,
job.
It took me a number of years before I felt comfortable enough that if I did screw up, I would be able to come back the next day. And also with talk radio, you're getting feedback immediately, and a lot of the people, and I think I've said this with you before, and I believe it, that the audience, more than management, gave me the chance, gave me the breath, gave me the life, gave me the career, gave me the book. It was them in the beginning, an outsider. The odds of somebody from the land of fruits and nuts, as a number of people in the very beginning referred to me as a Californian that way. And in Atlanta, they called me a Yankee, because of the North and the
Well,
South.
the thing is, you were a perfect match for the medium. You were a television personality in Los Angeles, Sacramento,
Atlanta. Yeah.
But it was radio is your medium. I mean, that's just a fact.
The most comfortable.
I mean, look at the listeners. I mean, Doris from Rego Park gets an obituary on the front page. Of the New York
Doris, I
Times.
remember that.
Why?
And the New York Times Magazine, the last Sunday of the year, Doris from Rego Park,
Oh, yeah.
And the New York Times said last Sunday.
Well, who made her? You made
She made herself.
Short Al. Who made Short Al?
I didn't.
Jerome
from Manhattan.
Yeah,
Who
Dominic. Yeah.
Well, they would call late at night because nobody else would take their
Dave
call.
But
from
you
Waterbury.
gave them.
I still get it. He's a cop now
I
in
know.
Waterbury.
Oh, that's
Cowboys.
good in case you ever get pulled over in Waterbury. It's good, yeah.
Yes.
Now, Bob, you wrote a little tribute to Steve in the book. And what I really like about what you wrote is that you talked about, you didn't use the word perfectionism, but you kind of talked about how Steve was a perfectionist, how his written monologues, his voice, his cadence, his intelligence, all these things
the
work
delivery
together.
is-
Delivery, all these things work together to make Steve Steve.
Right. Well, the thing is, the talent there is to make it sound spontaneous, but there's nothing spontaneous about it because he crafted every element that
wrote
went into
everything
it.
down.
Mm-hmm.
So he wrote it. Everything was written down in longhand
Couldn't think on my head.
on the
off my
coffee
head.
stained legal pads, which is
Yeah.
legitimate.
Yeah.
The sound we had at the Fan, and it's still there, I'm sure, in the audio archives, the Steve Summers files. And it was hundreds and hundreds of little sound bites that were unique to his show only. So if you were a producer, it was a difficult job because you had to be on the ball for his cues. So the delivery, the cadence I referred to, it's all written. He's reading that, but it's in his voice, in his head, and he's delivered. And then when he wants that soundbite delivered, boom. I mean,
They
how
had
many-
to be ready.
Had to be ready.
And if they weren't,
and they weren't.
yeah.
They heard about it. But unfortunately, sometimes it wasn't their fault. Sometimes that damn
right,
computer
sure.
would freeze. And
Yeah. Did you kind of lose your stuffing when that would
Yeah,
happen?
oh,
yeah.
I got upset.
Yeah.
And or if they played the wrong soundbite or the wrong highlight.
yeah.
Because I wanted to use the medium of radio. And again, I had different producers and engineers over the years, and some of them adapted with me, some didn't. And I wasn't very nice to some of them, but they knew it wasn't personal.
Right.
Well, you were creating a product that you worked extremely hard on, and then when that gets stymied, when you're on the air, it must have been pretty frustrating.
Yeah, it didn't happen all that much, but it happened because, and again, I'm going to mention it again because it's true. Nobody screwed up more than I did. But I wasn't going to blame you or him. I took accountability and responsibility. And I had to, because you can't, in New York, and you know this, Bob knows this, if you're going to play games with the audience, you're not going to do well.
Right.
You have to be we're performing, so the audience knows we're performing, that we may not be talking this way or acting this way when we're going to the supermarket to buy cereal, but holding yourself accountable and responsible. And we know in sports, not the athletes, the owners, the executives all do that, holding themselves accountable. They want to blame somebody else. And I've done that too. I've been guilty of that as well. But the more you are as honest and real being yourself, and I never felt I was that much different than the people calling. I needed them to call. They would say, we're like listening to you, and we're glad you're on the radio. And I would say, well, I need you as much as you think you might need me.
And I think
it works both ways.
Yeah, that's what really made you unique. You gave them a platform to talk, and
Of
that was
course.
different from
Yeah,
the Mike and the Mad Dog. They were more like the experts.
And right, and I'm not, and I proved that for 34 years. I'm no expert.
A lot of those listeners, by the way, thought they had become the show.
Oh, and they were part
Some of them got in the book.
Oh, yeah.
I'm thinking it's.
Oh, I see.
There are
Yeah.
certain callers who, like, you would be talking about this, and they would come on and it would be a total non sequitur. They would not say anything related to what you had just led up to because they were only there to hear themselves.
And they had
talk.
prepared for that moment.
Oh, absolutely. They had agendas.
But
I can think of a couple. I won't name names, but there were a couple of callers who actually had to be dressed down.
I know.
There was one. I won't say who it was, who actually tried to get a credential to an event affiliated with WFAN. This was a caller, and the person was found out.
And they weren't actually with the press, I assume.
No.
Okay.
Somebody, whoever, I forget, it might have been, believe it or not, it might have been a Broadway show. And the person related to the production of the show called our newsroom and said, so-and-so asked for a press credential, and we just wanted to verify that he, in fact, is with WFAN.
Oh, wow, so seriously fraudulent.
Oh, yeah, so the person who answered the phone said, oh, really? Hang on a second. So Chernoff got involved, and Chernoff had to call the unnamed caller and say, listen, you do not work for WFAN.
And
you're just a caller.
Oh, my God.
And he was one of your callers. I'll just leave it at
Yeah,
that.
and
My point is...
And I think Chernoff said you're banned from the station.
Well, 2 weeks. It was a double
a
secret
year?
probation thing. My point is that he enabled, and they were great. Like the ones we mentioned, Jerome and,
Yeah.
and Doris.
Doris, God bless
Turned them
her.
into personalities
Short
to the point where sometimes they're asking for press credentials.
Well, they made it. They were on
They
their
did.
own.
Yeah, they did.
But also in the hours in the beginning, midnight, to 6 in the beginning, we didn't have a lot of commercials. So you could give time
Right.
to the callers. Now, Mike and the Mad Dog, the other shows during the day, and once the station found its audience and the audience found WFAN, then there were a lot of spots, and you couldn't take as much time with the callers. But I got to know some callers very well. Well, one a cop and the other in real estate. I went to their weddings, and they invited me to Ranger games to sit in the infamous blue seats at Madison Square Garden with them.
Oh, the chief.
With an honor.
Right? The chief, wasn't it the chief?
Blue seats. Yeah, the blue seats. Where the real Ranger fan was, and yes, and to sit with them up there. And so the callers had time, and I was lucky. Most of them, not all, were articulate and fluid and lucid and, awake, whether they were bartenders or students being up late. And I think also the show, because it was the first one, midnight to 6 in the beginning, I think a lot of people were curious about a sports talk show. And it was a little bit, I guess, what do you call it now, man talk? It's more urinal and more, But there was some of that also. But
it was more double entendre.
Yeah, that's right. Yes.
Well, it was a place to go, too. As a sports fan, between 12 and 6, you're a little bit alone in your house. And now it's changed because now you can go on X, you can go on other forums,
right.
you got the internet. Yeah. But back, in the 90s, you had no other outlet and you were company for them.
Intimate and personal.
Yeah.
And there were, my mother and father, who passed many years ago, they listened to the radio late at night to talk shows. It's interesting. But they weren't sports. It was like local talk stuff. And so for a lot of people, you're right. I mean, it is company. It's a companion. It's friendship. And but for me too. See, whatever it was for them, it was for me too. I mean, it was
amazing.
It was company for me. I didn't know anybody when I came 3,000 miles away from home. I got to know some of these people. I got to know people that I was working with. I didn't know anyone. And so anyway, and I wanted them to feel comfortable because when they called, giving me a chance to do something where I wanted to do it, they were also helping me.
It's funny, it's poignant, talks about the WFAN family, the original family, and Steve's really kind of touching background that he grew up with, and I think you're really going to like it.
Well, here's the thing. Some people might look at the book and go just like this.
Hey, that's my signed copy, buddy. What are you doing?
Well, I can get you another one.
He can get me another one.
So, but I'm just saying, I hope it works out well, and I hope it does well. Well, we'll see. I wouldn't mind doing an audio book, so I was going to tell Bob.
Yeah, you got to do an audiobook. I was going to ask you about that.
They said they hire a
No.
professional. That's what they told me yesterday.
Hire a professional?
They hire a professional.
No.
Well, they know I'm not. So, but the bottom line, that's what Triumph Books was telling me.
No, it's got to be you or nobody.
Well, I would like to think.
Oh, yeah, there's going to be a revolution if it's somebody besides you.
They have the Kindle. The book is out with the Kindle, but if the book sells, okay, then they want to do an audiobook. But I said, is that a possibility? First time I was talking to Triumph was yesterday about that. And they said, well, usually we have an audition with other people, Yeah, that's what they were telling
We'll have
me.
Seinfeld do it pro bono, I'm sure.
Yeah. There's a guy who needs money.
We have been so lucky to have Steve Summers and Bob Heussler back here today at the 3 Inning Fan Show. So I hope you will all go out and buy Steve's book, which is now thrown to the ground behind us. Oh, wait, Bob's going to get it.
Oh,
We
yeah.
got it. We're going to show you the cover one more time.
That's why they call it a hardcover.
Me here and you there. Thank you guys so much for joining me today.
Thank you.
And listeners, I hope you're following along. I'm going to be at the winter meeting starting on Sunday, so I'll see you from there.